My alarm went off at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I turned over to get out of bed and stepped in water. I woke everybody up and said, let's get things out, and moved everything out to the street. Neighbor had a house that was vacant, and 3 of us families just all moved up into a little house on top of the hill.
Your heart goes out to these people. We've done all that we can to stand together and go through this tragedy.
And looking at 8 to 10 feet of water over the rail, you can't imagine the feeling that gives you of hopelessness. No matter what you did save in the yard, you're looking at the main line completely disappeared and gone.
In 21 years, I have never seen anything that affected this railroad like this has. We were shut down. We were essentially sitting on an island. The concern was that we would actually lose Murray Yard Complex. We had employees that had not worked in 2 or 3 days that called us on the phone and volunteered their services to come down. They wanted to do something meaningful that could help. They rallied around. They brought their wives with them. We actually had employees and their spouses out here 18 and 20 hours straight.
We were sandbagging, and somebody just kind of tapped me on the shoulder. Didn't give him no thought about it, because we were in the line passing sandbags, and it turned out to be Dave Clifton, our terminal superintendent.
The camaraderie and the people coming together is something I'll never forget on this division. We had close to 75 employees that came out here on their own and sandbagged the north end of our yard.
I believe they saved North Kansas City, Missouri from being flooded. If it hadn't been for that floodgate going up and their hard work, Northtown would have been in about 8, 10 feet of water.
Our main line has been blocked across as a flood wall. We're sandbagged and levied against 2 rivers. That one river on my left empties into the Mississippi about a quarter of a mile from here. Lots and lots of sandbags have been laid. It's an awesome sight, isn't it?
What you see here is the Merrimack River backing up and the water rising from the Mississippi. This section of track here that's underwater, that water has come up 15 inches in the last 24 hours. This track is out of service. This is our main line between St. Louis and Memphis. We're shut down to all traffic here.
About the first 3 weeks, we were fighting high water, running trains through water that was 5 to 8 inches over the rail in about 4 different spots on the division, and maintaining a little bit of service. But the 4th week, we had the heavy rainfalls in southeast Nebraska, which really just blew this part of the railroad completely out. We've had 5 other major areas where we're working on now. Virtually every subdivision on the division has been affected in some way.
And out through the yards here from where we're standing, there's 24 yard tracks and 2 main lines underwater. It got the eastbound main line first, and then gradually started creeping in again from the river.
There's approximately 2.5 miles of water straight west of us over both tracks here. And the river's still running at an overflow stage and continues to rise.
It's unbelievable what this water can do. You wouldn't think it'd have that kind of force about it to force these like 7 or 8 foot holes under the track, and up there on the concrete, you know, it forced big holes under them.
I think it's affected the business severely. If you look on the water marks on these buildings, water is about 8 feet over my head.
The warehouse in Des Moines is underwater. This level that we're looking at here, from what I've been told, is expected to come up someplace between 2 and 3 feet, depending on how much water Red Rock can hold back. So you can see we haven't got a lot of room to spare. We're right nip and tuck to the edge of where we can stand it. So we're abandoning ship. We're moving out.
We have an awful lot of rail that's been washed out around the ITAM plant, and the Burlington Northern lead into the plant has a lot of washed out areas. So they're working feverishly to get their tracks fixed, and we are too.
The flood has not only affected the operation of this plant because of the inbound wheat, the outbound loads, but also the inbound empties coming back in for reloading. We've had cars tied up between here and St. Louis. We've had cars tied up in connections within Kansas City that transfers have not been able to be effected.
Probably in my time at Corps is the most difficult thing that we've had to contend with in terms of how we were going to transport product from Golden, Colorado, and deal primarily with car supply to support that.
It was difficult during the early stages when the situation was so volatile and it changed from minute to minute. The railroad had track, and then the next minute a levee breached and they didn't have tracks. So there were a lot of reroutes. We did truck a lot of material. We added inventory to our system to allow for extended transits. We chartered some airplanes when we had to. Everything from a 747, C-130, to DC-8, to Piper Cubs.
Our account leader for JB Hunt has been talking to me quite often, and we've been trying to develop plans. They're a big shipper of truckload traffic in this country, and they move a lot of traffic Chicago to Denver, of which they move a lot over the Burlington Northern. And we informed them when the line went out of service that we would not be able to do that, and we would develop some alternate plans. And yesterday we were able to develop what we felt was a good alternate plan, and it was a good alternate plan at the time. But due to the weather, and again some severe storms that rolled through during the night, the plan, JB Hunt brought us traffic. It is now on trains which we're not going to be able to perform to what we said we could, and it just is a little difficult to try to build new plans based on trains that are already in the pipeline, but we're doing our best to minimize the effect that we have to our customers and trying to live up to our word.
We have people going to work around the clock. We have contractors coming in. We have system gains coming in from all over the locations on the system. We have shut down our normal maintenance in some areas across the system to get those folks in here. So we're going to have a large workforce over the next 2.5 weeks working on this.
The crew I've got right now, we're just going to keep working north towards St. Joe until we meet the crews coming south. We're just starting out. We're working 7 days a week from now on until we get done.
What we're doing is we're jacking this track up to bring the ballast train out. The auger train will fill the ties in where we're setting, and when it gets up to the machine, we'll drop off, move back about another 30 foot, jack it up, just repeat the same process till we get through this hole here. And then after he gets done, we'll go back and set it on top and dump grade ballast. Then later, the smoothing gang will come up and smooth it up with any hopes that that'll be it.
We should have this open as far as getting work trains through by sometime late tonight. We can take this operation, move it down to Farley, Missouri, and start on the next one on down.
Right now, we're standing about 6 miles north of Murray Yard. We'll get this one first and continue north, and we'll meet up with the Lincoln Division employees as they're working south. Right now, estimate is about 2.5 weeks before we get this line open again.
What you're seeing is just a small part of the vast damage caused by the floods of 1993. There's probably very little in your experience, as there has been in mine, that would prepare you for the extent of the devastation that affected that part around the Missouri and Mississippi rivers. It is cruel, it is destructive, it had a force that none of us have any experience and understanding, and its aftermath will take a long time to recover from. Just from the perspective of the railroads, this is the worst disaster to hit in anyone's memory. And BN, because it runs east-west along the Missouri and north-south along the Mississippi, probably got the brunt of the damage, far more than any other railroad experienced. But one of the things you'll see in these pictures is the determination, the professionalism, the skill, the experience, and the capacity for hard work of the BN people. Our railroad will be totally rebuilt so that we can begin serving our customers quickly. The early estimates are all going to be beaten, and that's largely because every individual brought to the task innovation, experience, and total dedication to getting those lines back in shape. And they've done it safely, and they've done it with the customer uppermost in their minds. Even if you haven't seen our people in action, and even if you can't fully appreciate everything that's been done, you can be totally proud of the way this company has performed and what they've done to bring it back to full service. And we also thank our customers for their patience during the most difficult period in memory.
The one thing that our employees have done is through this whole adversity, they've worked safely. I mean, we haven't had any major kind of derailments, we haven't had any major kind of injuries, and they're constantly trying to help the customers and get the railroad back in service. But the most important thing is they're doing this without jeopardizing themselves and other employees. And they're just banded together and they're working superb.
I thought we did real well. We had a lot of positive feedback from our direct customers who relied on us heavily for their support. And they commented to us that we helped them tremendously. We were able to give them answers that no other connecting line could, that we were more dependable. That really made us feel good and gave us an incentive to do more.
We do anticipate returning to normal, and because of what we've heard recently from the folks here in Fort Worth at the Burlington, the repair of the rail is incredible, and we believe that we will be seeing results sooner than we had anticipated.
It's just what I would have expected from one of our biggest partners in the distribution effort to get our product out the door.
I do want to praise them for working so closely with us and keeping us apprised of where things are and trying to help us get trains moving. I know they've had to work very hard at finding other routes. They've had to work very hard with other railroads to establish some of those routes. It was very important to us, and I think from my perspective, they did a good job at really trying to keep us updated.
I've talked with people in Fort Worth myself, and they just, you know, through all the hardship that they've endured, they were always willing to help us. We really, really appreciate that effort.
I've talked to some people that have been working for the railroad longer than I've been alive, and they tell me they've never seen it with so many outages and just so many problems all at once. I think it's a credit to the people of the company that are out there working as hard as they can. We do have problems, but there's still trains moving, the freight's still moving, the coal's getting to the power plants and the grain's getting to the ports. It might be a little bit slower, but we're still doing our job, and it's just a matter of time before we get back on our feet and rolling again.
I've never seen any other company pull together so strong. I mean, everybody's pulling together and working hand in hand. We're doing great. We're dry and thankful that we saved what we saved.